Okay, we are live.
Oh,
Hopefully you can hear me, because I haven't checked the audio. Welcome to the Clutch Kick. I am one of your hosts, EG, and we're just trying to make it a little bit awkward. Anyway, on my one side of me is
that would
Craig.
be your right, but it looks like your left.
I don't know. No idea. And we have our two special guests, Jake and Steve somewhere. He's gone to
It-
the ice cream.
Yeah, he's gone out to the ice cream van like a child.
Just as we were about to go live, I think he heard the ice cream van, so he said, "If there's enough
He
time,
decided he
go
want
get
more
some ice cream."
cholesterol.
Okay, so for tonight's show, we're gonna do a wrap up of our World Time Attack.
Predictions.
Is it international? IDC
International Drifting Cup.
Yep. So the wrap up of the competition. So just be of the pools. I'm still actually adding up the points. So bear with me because it was a little bit weird the way they actually ran the competition when we arrived, because we were expecting like a system much like last year. Well, they did have the pool system, but then the way that they added the scores together was very different. I think the commentators were saying it was like the old system anyway, and so that's probably what caused more confusion.
Well, yeah, they had announced it during the lunchtime that's 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and 0 for a loss, and then they ended up doing this system where they just added all the points that the judges were giving out of 10 to each driver, which, I don't know, threw some interesting things into the works, because it sort of meant guys were getting 30 points for a battle, or for one run of a battle that they probably didn't necessarily deserve a 30 on, because the other car completely fucked up, but they managed to string a bit of a lap together and entitled them to a 30. So
we'll be talking about that, as well as a wrap up of Gambier, the DCA King of the Hill competition / Matsuri
/ Adam LZ's.
You should have put that in the title. That you should just put Adam LZ in the title. Just even
to get
say,
an extra half a view.
Half a view. It was crazy the amount of. Yeah, I think we have to start playing the game a bit more.
Yeah.
No.
All right, we'll talk about that after.
No, I'm not that keen on that stuff. So I'm just gonna keep working through these scores, because after some discussion we've changed the point system as well.
Well, yeah, it seems like the go with this event is just to change the point system on the fly. So
yeah,
I'm just going to be doing this. So I guess you guys can probably talk about. Oh, actually, we start off with news normally. So
yeah, did you watch FD final, Jake?
Yes.
All right, we'll talk a little bit FD final while we're. So I guess FD final has been run and won. Jesus Christ!
Is that all ice cream?
Yeah, you just needed one. Just love watching the replay of it coming back up again. So James Dean is now 3-time in a row FD champion. Ended up being a fairly interesting event, because James had a bit. Yeah, and James had a bit of a tough battle in his top 32, because he went against, I can't even think of his name now, the Njuku 14 with the 180 front. Kevin Lawrence, and
that's the one.
It was actually ended up being a really good battle. I think one of Kevin's best runs of the year. So that sort of tested him, but he still managed to take the win on that. And then in the top 16, both Peter and James had tough battles, and Peter was taking on Osbo, which should have, could, had massive championship implications. And then James was taking on Forrest Wang, which was a repeat of the exact same battle the year before. And I know the year before James had issues with the motor sort of sitting a little bit off skew and sitting against his steering column. So I think he wanted a bit of redemption on it. But Peter managed to, I think Peter sort of really stomped his authority on that battle with Osbo, and there was no reason that people could sort of argue that Peter shouldn't have won. Yeah, maybe he was a little bit more erratic in some ways, but I think he tapped his door twice. I think once on each bank he drove into Osbo's door. And then a lot of people, including people in the comments, are saying Forrest should have won the battle. I don't know. I see it from both ways a little bit. The first battle, if you go back and watch it after watching the next two, isn't as clear cut as what some of the others were. Fuck, you're obnoxious, Steve. just mute your mic, you twit. He likes the brown ones.
In and around his mouth.
Oh yeah.
And
that creamy goodness.
But even if that decision had have gone the other way and gone to Forrest, the championship wouldn't have changed because Osbo still ended up second. If things had gone and James could have been knocked off, I think the only other person that possibly could have done it was, I think, maybe Odie. And things didn't go right for that to happen anyway, because he would have, if Odie was in a position to come first, he would have ended up jumping into second in the championship. And then James winning that battle would have had an impact, but James winning that battle had sort of zero impact on the actual championship. It just meant that it was decided earlier in the event. So I know EG loves that track. I think I got multiple messages saying, "How the fuck is this a drift track?"
It's so boring. It's like
it used to have
any drifting in there.
It used to have a right-hander in it, but then they took it out because it basically smoked out by the first couple of corners, so they changed that. But I still think, yeah, overall, fairly good season from everybody. I don't think, there was definitely some up and downs for a few guys, but it was good to see some guys really come to the forefront throughout the year, and just, I think overall one of the most competitive seasons. So I think the gap that James won by was 30 points closer than it had been the year before. So championship ended up, down to the wire again, which is always good for a championship, I think. So I think next year, we'll wait and see what these guys can do. But Chelsea's sort of starting to prove himself as definitely putting down probably the best runs, but continues to do Chelsea things. So any overall impressions, Jakey, on that event?
Not really. FD at Irwindale. Just pretty much had it on in the background. So
yeah, I watched Peter's vlog thing today. It's just interesting to see where the high speed, like the highest amount of speed is on tracks like that. I think mid corner they're doing like about 120 on the first corner, but they only enter at about 110 or something. So they gain a little bit of speed, but then it jumps right up to around 130, 140 on that transition just before they flick it back down towards the second wall. So found that interesting. I thought that might end up sort of being as they start to slow, but clearly still heavily on throttle, and it sort of explains a few of the cars going stupid deep. It
into
sort of
that
shows.
wall.
Yeah, and I think this year's was actually one of the cleaner events with that wall. I think the year that I went and watched, there was 2 cars on their roof. In fairness, I think there was Pro Tour or Pro Am style event as part of that, and that was one of those cars. But Daigo used to be an expert at leading cars into that wall, so for some reason everybody behind Daigo would just back it into that wall. So, but I think you do probably a funny little checkup thing. Another year. I think SEMA, they're supposed to announce the calendar, or they're aiming to announce the calendar. So we'll wait and see see what happens with all of that, and then I guess we wait and see which drivers are coming back, which drivers aren't coming back, and which drivers are being added to the championship. I think there's a lot of guys even a lot of YouTube guys. I think there's a couple trying to step up to Pro 2, so that should make Pro 2 even more interesting, and hopefully they end up going to a top 32 for Pro 2, because I just think the top 16's not really enough when you've got 60-something cars showing up. So, what's an extra couple of hours to the show, really, to get you guys getting more laps? So, yeah, I guess we wait and see. How close are you to having your scores tabulated? Yeah, you just need to look at that shit and wink, and then it should come together.
Yeah, so we did change the result from the first system, so I might just keep both systems.
Yeah, keep both. Did I win?
That's a funny thing. You suggested the second system.
Yeah, because I won. Yeah, bitch. Come on, get on with it. EG, you're the one with all the info, mate, because you're spotting for a driver.
Yeah.
And you clearly,
Yep.
Yeah, and you clearly fucked the driver over. So clearly we're both shit. Clearly we're both shit. Clearly we're both shit at spotting.
So I kind of wonder what would happen if you used the old system.
Just the 2 points for a win, and
draw. Yeah. To see how it would have changed.
Yeah.
So
we might work that out later.
Go back and then have a look and see how that looks, because the new system.
Mitch was very annoyed with the new system.
Well, I think
Mitch,
it makes
Doyle.
sense.
Doyle.
Yeah,
it would have gone through.
It makes sense, but you have to judge every run as it was, disregarding what the other person did. So if the other first person spun, you still need to judge them for the whole entire run.
If the chase car spins or goes off track, you need to judge the lead as independent.
Yeah.
The chase you can't always judge as independent, but you can judge it until the point in which the run ends. So if say the lead car spears off on the first corner and you have to button out, then you get 10. But if you've done an average chase and it's just on the last corner that the lead car's fucked up, then you might not get a 10 just because the lead car's fucked up.
Yeah, no, I still think even if lead car fucks up and spins
at any point,
corner, you get judged for that section only, and that's it. Or say no.
Nah, that's unfair, because
say they spin. Say the lead
because if you had a sick chase run, then all you have to do as a lead car is spin on the first corner and not let the other guy have a run, then you win.
No, but then if you spin, then the other guy will have to continue through and get judged as a run by itself.
Too complicated.
No, because otherwise it's not fair. Otherwise it goes 10-0 again.
I understand, but that's only for the chase car. It just means that you're not getting it for the leads, and I think for the leads it's worse.
No, but you have to, as a chase car, you can't just bail out of it. It doesn't mean that they get judged for that section, but then they'll still get judged. It will still be in their favor anyway. So say it won't be a 10-0, but it'll be more like a sort of, depending on how much you can judge of it, it'd be like a 7-3 or
of course.
8-2
but I think
or something, but it wouldn't be a 10.
Yeah, but I still think you've got to do it. Like, say you door the person on the first corner and then the other car spears off and you can't continue smoothly, then you're entitled to a 10. But if you've hung back 5 car lengths and then the lead car still spins off, then all you're entitled to is maybe an 8 or a 7.
Yeah, because you've left a gap.
Yeah, you weren't. Your intention for the run was not to, not to run it hard. But yeah, I think when you do a point system like that, I think one of our people who's watching Warwick Hill might have been got a gift a little bit with one of the runs where a chase car, I think, decided to go all agricultural and do some crazy shit, driving really well all weekend. But some of those runs just for that style of judging system end up throwing sort of a you really hope you're in a group with shit guys as opposed to being able to put down good, lead and chase runs. So, so you're in drivers briefing, all drivers briefings. I guess it started to bloody Ricky White goes in podiums at Mount Gambier, and all he wants is to do is talk about him in the comments. So wait your turn, mate. So you're in all drivers briefings. I know Thursday there was no barriers along the entry into turn 1 with a long run up.
Just saw his comment. Sorry. Yeah, repeat that.
And then, yeah, we still love you, Warwick. I'm not giving you shit saying that you drove badly. I'm just saying, like, you get a 60-point run for...
Yeah, it's just a system. The way the system works is...
Yeah.
I don't think it's a true representation of the score.
Yeah. So some of the videos that I saw from Thursday practice, it didn't look like there was a crazy amount of dirt dropping, and half the dirt looked like it had already been chewed out from the time attack cars anyway. And guys were doing really cool entries.
Yeah, they were.
Ben Mears on car and stuff was really, really good. And then also, then on Friday the barriers went in, and then Saturday the run up was a third of the distance. So what sort of went on with all that?
Okay, I get the dirt drops. There were some really big ones, like huge rooster tails.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can't remember who they were, but the thing was, in briefing, they were requiring those cars to run their wheels on that line.
On the line.
They're pushing them out. So it's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, if you don't want them to go over onto the dirt, then don't send them there. Like, just set up the course a bit better, where they won't get penalised for being maybe
a meter off the edge.
And then they won't go that far. It'd be more of a mistake. So that was one thing that I
just don't understand. Like, that's the outside of a corner anyway. How the hell Sydney Motorsport Park hasn't put a massive bump style ripple strip there anyway? Because any race car is going to dump a wheel in that section before they turn into the left anyway. Like, that section would already be chewed out from cars. You're running that outside line to turn left there. Oh, it doesn't matter which layout you're running. You're going to be wide there. Like, why after all these years that hasn't ended up with one of the few places on the track that hasn't ended up with a massive concrete curb makes zero sense to me anyway. Yeah. I think they do it just so that they can be like, oh no, we can't drift on this section because you'll drop wheels. Like even turn 1, like, oh, you can't drift turn 1 of the main track because wheel drops, yet because of supercars they end up having to put a massive wide concrete section there because they dug it out to almost like 20 centimeters deep the other year when they were there. So that sort of shit's just...
I wonder what their fine was.
What's that? What did you say, Jake?
I wonder what their fine was.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Nothing. So, yeah. So then the walls went in, and I think the walls were too... I think and I know it wasn't... And look, don't go back reporting to people within these things that we're talking shit about them. We know it was ARDC that went and put the barriers out there. It wasn't set up by the guys running the event.
So yeah, I think they understand what's going on. They tried not to get that stuff put in.
Yeah.
I think
the wall ended up being too late. The wall should have been earlier. Like, you're entering. It needs to be before entry.
Well,
as early as possible. You want it as early as possible.
They should have put that in on the Thursday.
Probably, yeah, and then it should have been probably 30 or 40 meters earlier.
It should have been oh man, they took such a long time to set up those walls.
But it should have been earlier, like, because then you should have, as you initiate, the wall should already be there, and then you go to the wall, not initiate, and then all of a sudden the wall's there. Because if you hang your rear over it, then you're just going to smack the shit out of it.
Yeah, well, I get what you mean. Like, it would be better if it was a lot further down. It's pretty much over the crest. Like, it needs to be visible.
But ARDC doesn't seem to want to help these guys at all. So, yeah. This isn't shit talk on Mackie or any of those guys. Like, this is, like, we know that it was ARDC setting it up. And then on the Saturday, there was a decision to cut the start line down by almost, a third, 2/3. Why did they end up doing that halfway through the pool battles?
The track were still not happy with the way the guys are driving. So
who wasn't happy, the track or the judges?
No, the track. So the actual I don't know what the correct title is, but one of the people that were managing the track, they came down and they had a big yell at the briefing, and they were saying they're going to cancel the drifting, or they were this close to cancelling the drifting or something like that. And then
that's ridiculous.
They sort of, I guess, negotiated, and they said, it'll be better if we push the start line, so then it makes the approach slower and more controllable. But yeah, it's interesting how they manage the situation. So I don't think, I think it could be managed better. So,
but it also doesn't sound like it was all just the track. It sounds like there was some issues with some CAMS officials or something as well. Because supposedly one of the CAMS officials had an absolute off her head moment before or after the demos, or about the demos.
I heard it was towards Jake.
Yeah, it's about the wheel drops. Yeah, so I don't get that. Like, I didn't see the videos. I saw they were handing out fines for wheel drops during demos, but I didn't watch them. So they were giving people fines if they wheel dropped anywhere on the track during demos, and there was some other thing that they were not happy about. But
if it's the same, if it's the same CAMS people doing that during the demos, and I understand during the demos you can button out of it a little bit, don't run as much grip and just keep it on the track, like, fair enough. But if they've already got that attitude towards it, and their sort of CAMS is managing both sides of it, and their clerk of course or whoever, then then it's just the reason nobody runs under CAMS anymore. Drift All Stars tried to run it, went to go under CAMS, and fairly quickly stopped using CAMS because it's just an absolute head fuck, really. Or should I call it Motorsports Australia now? So those fines went to helping the rebrand, I'm sure.
I really don't like those guys. I don't think they've got any idea of drifting at all, and they don't.
I don't think they've got an idea about motorsport, to be honest.
They might have experience with other things.
Maybe high-level motorsport, but I don't think they care about anything grassroots.
Yeah,
so
not even grassroots. I think just drifting in general.
But just anything, but anything that's low level, really. So anything that's not top tier, $100,000 and $200,000 cars, sort of thing.
That doesn't.
I know there were some of them.
That wouldn't be like that. There are like really expensive drift cars, and it's not like it's pretty established. Like it's 2019. Like I had the first big drift competition started in 2000 with D1 GP, and then you've got all the other competitions. Like FD is massive as well. You got King of Europe, I don't think they're around anymore, but like the Drift Masters and all that.
DMAC and stuff.
Yeah, there's so many things that are happening around the world, and they still think it's they just don't understand it, and they don't want.
But they're so anti it here under CAMS, yet they're FIA affiliated, like they're our FIA affiliation to, and the FIA is now, starting a motorsport Olympics, and drifting's part of that, yet CAMS still continues to try and kill it in every way, shape and form. Like, yet the international body is pushing it to be bigger and bigger. So, hopefully, I'm just surprised for World Time Attack, considering it's a purely exhibition event, really. Why the fuck you would even run it under CAMS anyway? Like, it's not a series. Like, it doesn't matter, you don't need a proper governing body style thing unless Sydney Motorsport Park has basically said, well, you're not allowed to run the event here unless you run it under CAMS. But considering people run under Racer and under AASA at Sydney Motorsport Park all the time, I just don't understand using cams.
I think it's probably to do with the logistics of that event, because they probably run under cams for time attack, I'm guessing. So then they just have the same officials just sort of.
But there's not that much time attack going on in Australia.
Yeah, but no, I mean like just the event itself. So like.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But I wouldn't run any of it under cams.
You
just run under a different insurance company. Yeah, I don't understand it being under cams. Like you don't need it to be cams recognized. Like it's an exhibition event.
It is. Like even time attack itself is
a show.
Apparently, there's a lot of cars there that only fit in that event. They don't. They don't qualify for
club
events.
Sprints, anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, unless there's some sort of deal that maybe they're free. I have no idea. Just to get the name on there.
Yeah. So I don't know, but hopefully there's a move away from that, or something can be worked out for future years. It sounds like there's an event happening next year, so I guess we wait and see on that. Have you tabulated your scores, EG?
Yeah, I have. I did. I actually left the original on there. So, you want to go through that first, or do you want to go through?
Yeah. No. Let's go through that a little bit and see who made it out of the pools.
Made it out of the pools. What do you mean?
Yeah, like go through and say who. Yeah. Say who made it.
All right.
Which driver? 2 drivers made it out of each pool, and.
Yeah, I think I got this right. Because I just went through. It was hard to find the information as well, because they just didn't really show the stream this way. So I'll just switch to view.
There is results on the World Time Attack page, but
is there? Oh, I didn't look there.
Yeah,
I just looked through the stream. So if you just wait a few moments, it should come up. So
there we go.
We did do. You can see the results. So 2 systems. So the first. Wait, how do you want to go about this? Do you want to talk about?
Just see him. Yeah, so I guess from Pool A, Matty Hill and Aaron Dwar made it.
Yeah,
made it through.
I've marked first place as green.
As gold. As green. Yep.
Green.
Yep. Yeah.
And then second place as gold.
Yeah.
So in Pool A, Aaron Dwar, I think, got first, and then Matty Hill came second.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So Ben Jenkins ended up having nothing but issues. Finney O'Hare seemed to still struggle with some car setup stuff, and also blew a tail shaft out of the car on the Friday. John Dreyer looked okay. I don't really remember John's driving all that much. I just think he had a few mistakes. And then in Pool B, Matt Harvey and Andy Gray made it out of that one. Oh, did I get both? Oh, that's where I got all my points from. So I got them in the right order.
Yeah, just wait for the next pool.
Yeah, the boy. There was some controversy in that group with the Gray and Nakamura battle. I know that on the stream it came up as Nakamura winning. Then there was claims that a judge got it. I think one judge went for Gray, and then the 2 others went for. Well, I can call them out. Dan Mackey went for. I'm pretty sure went for Gray, and then the other 2 judges went for Nakamura. There's been another video that's come out from somebody from a spectator point of view, and I still reckon the car looks like it's once he's thrown the backy, all of a sudden the car, just as he gets hit by Andy, starts to hook right. So to me, he stalled the shit out of that car.
That is like because
he even admitted that himself.
Nakamura did.
Yeah, he said, "Yeah, I put it on a little bit too much angle."
So
like in the live stream,
So then,
I think interesting. It's because I was watching from the judges area, so I was just trying to listen to what they were doing. Different perspective from up there. All I'll say at the moment. Yeah. At the moment, probably
And then Levi ended up having some car issues and ended up driving the backup car for his last battle, the Ford Ranger with the LX in it. on the Saturday, and I think overall Kelly looked pretty good, but she was in a really tough group. But I think she held her own, just a little bit slower than the guys in that group. But shit, when you look at the other people in that group, then Pool C was won by won by Shane Van Gisbergen, and Troy Jenkins came second in that group. I couldn't believe the way Van Gisbergen was driving, and maybe the line that was set was just, settled him straight away. He was able to drift the racing line. So,
maybe. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if things were a little bit more.
Oh, you can't take away his driving skill on the night, though. Like,
his chase
Yeah,
freaking aggressive.
I
I think he got the best chase run of the event.
But I suppose that car's just had either Wisefab or a different steering angle kit put in it. So I don't know if it's turned a whole heap of laps with that setup, but whatever those guys did, that car was just primed and ready to go. I think Troy drove consistently overall. As I said, Jake Jones should have brought the S13. I think he ended up blowing a bloody Wiggins clamp or something off one of his cooler pipes in one of his battles.
That was against Giz.
And then Adam Munkett had a massive fire in the back of his car during the demos on the Saturday. And Andy Worth was in a different car and had some dramas and just seemed to struggle to get a handle on that car. Pool D, Yukoi won that group, which I think we all went for.
Yeah.
And then Botcha ended up coming second in that group. Oh, that's another one that I got a clear cut on that one. Who was in that group? The two Chinese guys, right? No. This is. I can only see it small.
Brad's a secret Chinese guy. It's one of those guys that
No. Sorry, it was the Japanese guy who was supposed to be driving the RX-7, but then that's when these reserve drivers ended up jumping into these spots that they never sort of formally announced and all that. Because I think that was either.
I don't think they need to, because they were just trying to keep it so it was less confusing or something. It was more confusing watching it.
Yeah. Well, because didn't that Ben Maloney guy drive in two groups?
Who?
Didn't the JDM
two
garage?
Pools. Yeah,
he drove
two
in
pools or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The JDM Garage 15 drove in two groups. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
That shit started hurting my brain.
They were just meant to be a feeling. So anytime you couldn't make the line or you weren't there, one of the drivers would jump in and just run. It didn't really matter. Like you didn't take over for someone. You just drove in place of them. So and then that way the show would keep running. And I get that. Like it makes sense. But it was super confusing because it didn't really stand out that they were like a reserve driver. And that was probably the problem. Yeah,
hurt my brain. I think Brad had some okay runs in that group.
Brad was close to progressing. I think he was 1 point off overall.
But considering Botcha went on to win the event, and then Yukoi was top 3 or 4 as well. So, and then Pool E was Warwick Hill winning that group and Van Kirk coming second. Jakey and I both picked Warwick. I picked him first, so yeah, boy. But Van Kirk ended up not driving the car that was originally being built. They fell just short of having that car ready. So he drove the trustworthy supercharged 13 of Paul Alexander. If I'd known he was going to be driving that, I probably would have put him higher on my list of guys. I know Glenn Ormerod had some struggles with the car. Yeah. I think the first day, supposedly the typical issue of having that bloody foam in a fuel cell and it end up clogging up.
Get rid of that car. Like that car hasn't performed in I've never seen that car run well in the last 2 years.
Yeah, just don't run a VQ.
Just
Um,
no, like you can run a VQ. I think
it looked like he started to get the hang of it, but I think
no,
that the amount of grip
that
and
thing
stuff that it was running,
that thing is not that. It'll look so bad on track. There's something wrong with it, and then it needs
It
a
looked
lot of
like a
work.
massive handful.
Yeah.
And he got no laps. Like he showed up in Thursday practice was the first time he'd ever driven it, and it had clogged fuel lines from that foam in the fuel cell. So I think he struggled to get laps. Mitch Pullen had broken an input shaft on the gearbox and ended up not driving until the whatever day that was, Saturday. And then Angus did all sorts of crazy shit. If you've ever wanted to see a Supra look more like a jet, then Angus did it. 'Cause those retarded berms that are all over the bloody South Circuit are just stupid. So yeah, Warwick drove really, really well in that group, and Van Kirk was super consistent and clean. So not really surprised by the outcome of that group. Except
Warwick was really good. Well, it shows because he got the first place.
But while Warwick's in the comments and we're picking on him, what a dickhead for leaving his bloody bonnet pins out for the first demo laps out of Friday. Like the car looks mint, like he's just going to get like the wrap fixed to have 3 fingers neat on the side and all that sort of stuff. And he's barely made it around the corner and the fucking bonnet's up. Hey, but good way to get advertising out there. So, and then at least he redeemed himself by going and absolutely kicking ass over the weekend.
He was fast. Like I don't know what it looked like on the live stream, but in person, watching it from the judges area, I was like, yeah, he's one of the guys that you need to watch out for. Like if you want a benchmark, he's one of them. Like I think I picked 3 people, and he was one of the guys that, if you need to follow someone, follow him.
Yeah, I think he, after the year that he had and the fact that the car's now running well, I think he just wanted to go out there and abuse some shit. So I think that car was either win it or bin it pretty much. So yeah, he drove the shit out of it. And then Pool F, Nathan Greenhill won it. Michael Bonney came second. Our boys Blake Patterson and Mitch Jeffrey were in that group, as well as Jerry Zhu. Mitch was just doing standing burnouts from the line pretty much all weekend. He just looked like he couldn't get the car to hook up. I think he's going to be making some car setup changes because, yeah, just smoky boys pretty much off the line.
He also wasn't weight transferring when he was pulling the handbrake. He did an opposite drift entry once. It was funny.
Gee, I didn't take that much notice. I was fast forwarding through most of it. Blake did some sick entries. Blake looked good. You were spotting for Blake, but maybe we both have to stop spotting for people that we actually like. Jerry Zhu, didn't look too bad, I don't think. Another one that didn't stand out a crazy amount. That was the Rocket Bunny, the white Rocket Bunny 15.
Yeah, he was like average. The other guy was not very good. Ken, I think.
Yeah.
Ken
He's
just kept
supposed to be
steering off the track.
Yokoi's protege.
Yeah, but I think they said that car was like pretty much brand spanking new, the 86. So I'm not sure he'd ever really turned a lap in that car before. And then my predictions with Greenhill having car troubles were completely wrong. And he drove really, really well. And then Michael Bonney, just, yeah, look, once the start line moved closer, it fell to his advantage because I don't think he looked all that comfortable on the first day in with the longer run up. I think a few other guys in that group looked stronger. So that sort of fell to the advantage, plus some judging criteria stuff. People can get hurt by that, but I'm going to fucking say it. And then in Pool G, of course, I think we all guessed him number 1. Bo Yates ended up winning that group. And then Jordan Graham ended up making it through. I'm surprised that none of us picked Jordan. I think a lot of us threw him in as a dark horse to potentially make it through, but there were other people in that group that we went with.
So close. Like remember I was flip-flopping between Mitch Doyle and Jordan. But I kind of thought they would like Mitch better than Jordan.
So there's a little bit of controversy in that one. They end up being a hit between Yates and Doyle in that group. I found it a little bit odd. I would have thought that it would have gone in Mitch's favour, but I think they sort of claimed that Mitch was going in too slow. So I don't know. Thought it was, in some situations they say it's the job of the chase car to make sure that they give the lead car room, and then other times they'll use it as a claim being like the lead car was going too slow. Seems like one of the biggest cop-out things that can be said with judging sometimes. So depends on what was said in driver's briefing, really. Dale looked okay, but I think he had just some funky mistakes.
Dale had car troubles.
Oh yeah, he did.
He was struggling.
Yeah.
So the car he was going as fast as he can. The car was just missing.
Not doing what he wanted to do it.
No, he. Yeah, felt sorry for him. He was. The car slowed him down.
Yeah.
So.
And then Jesse Greenstay looked okay, but again, just didn't have it compared to the other guys in that group. And then the last group was a bit of a hot mess, really. In Pool H, ended up being taken out by Danny Probert and Brody Mayer coming.
He did that just to spite me, I think.
Well, Ben ended up having a crash in practice on Friday. Car ended up dropping a valve and absolutely lunching the motor.
Pretty sure that was independent though.
Yeah, but it happened in the same run that he had the crash. So, he had one shocking run and some shit went down.
That was when the walls, it was his very first run when the walls in put up, and the wall was not where it was described. So I told Blake, but I guess if people didn't have spotters up there or someone to tell them, hey, the wall is in a different spot, then if you would have...
You were initiated before you saw the wall.
It would have surprised you when you came over. So
yeah. So you've probably taken your eyes off what you're doing and just sort of
So I guess he should have had the spotting worked out better, especially that event. So not really there is kind of an excuse, but at the same time,
I think you might have had comms.
No,
I think generally he does.
No, he didn't.
Nah, Sean wasn't up there spotting for him.
I can't remember his name. I don't know.
Yeah.
What was it, Will?
Was it Will? Was it Will?
Or Sean?
Will Yardy?
Were they on direct comms though, or not direct comms?
No comms.
Yeah.
I know he just walked up with me. He helped me carry my stuff up, like a chair and stuff, and then I asked how you communicate with him. He says he doesn't have any comms, so I don't know. He'll have to figure something out. So
yeah.
Speaking of communicating, did you keep your helmet on the entire competition for your comms?
No. So
he used it on the Thursday, I think.
The Thursday was crazy windy. I'm pretty sure I could have leant over 45 degrees, and it's still the amount of wind that was coming down that from the other side of the circuit across to the drifting area was insane. Everything was blowing over, and so I was trying to talk to Blake, but he couldn't hear me. So if I put the helmet on, then he could hear me fine because it's
muffles everything.
Very protected. Yeah. So I only had to do that.
And I saw you on the live stream, and you didn't have your helmet on. So
you saw me in the live stream. I didn't realize I got there. I was sort of
sneaking up beside the judges.
Yep. Yeah.
So Ben's car crapped out. Mickey had some car issues.
Yeah. So when she turned up, I think she was expecting something different, especially suspension-wise. So, I mean, what sucks is that she blamed herself for it. So, she should have enough skill, or she should be at that level where she can just get into her car and drive it, 100%. But I don't know who built the car. I just think like when I saw it on the Thursday or the Friday, they were making a lot of changes to it. So apparently they requested a few things and they weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's hard when it's built by a third party. I'm sure both parties would have been in communication with World Time Attack directly, but not in communication with each other. And then...
Oh, I think they were, but I think maybe they thought, this is, I mean...
It's similar or the same or whatever.
Similar or better, so they said, yeah, we'll put this in instead because it's better, but like really, it's not what they want. So even if it might be better, it's not there. They can't drive with it.
Yeah, like here, wear these gloves. They'll keep your hands warmer than what you'd normally wear, or something. But you're like, but I don't want my hands that warm, sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, no, I get you.
So she really beat herself up. Like just the, what she was saying is like, man, I really felt sorry for her, and the car was just like not. She thought, man, I am a good driver. Like I should know how to drive this, but I can't.
Yeah. And then, Billy didn't drive. Yeah, killed the clutch on the Thursday, before the comp started,
I think it was Friday.
Friday, and then he did the clutch overnight.
He did clutch overnight, but because he did the clutch on one of the battles, he lost. All the points,
a whole bunch of points and all that.
Yeah. So what? 60 points gone. That's it.
Yeah, you're pretty much gone. And honestly, for an SR, if you can't keep a good run up on that track, I've done a clutch on that track as well. So, that track sucks for non-talky setups or sort of setups that aren't close gears. So, yeah. So I think Danny got a little bit lucky. I think overall in that group because there was a lot of issues. And I think even Brody had some issues, hence why he ended up second. I can't remember exactly, but I don't think he drove as well as he could. So
yeah, that was not the most
exciting group.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I don't know. Did you do points? Did you end up doing any points for picking the outright winners and all that sort of stuff?
No, because they're just here, so you can see them.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the short answer is me and Jake won.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought like if you added into the actual, if you added into the table.
Well, Yokoi. Wait, I can't remember who won.
Boccia, Yokoi, and then Bonnie.
Oh, I see. Because he picked Yokoi second. Yeah, there's only one there that's
Yeah,
right.
How do you guys win on the outright winners thing? I win that because I picked him in the right place again. Motherfuckers.
It's not a trifecta, mate. It's
no, it was in order, mate. We were going in order. I think one of the best battles for me was the Hill brothers taking each other on in top 16. Awesome. Probably should have been a one more time. Matty had some absolutely rubbish launches coming out of off the start line. Did some weird shit. Like it wasn't only. And
I heard he had a busted gearbox. Like he was missing a gear.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true or not, but
I don't think he was playing games. But yeah, I think both the top 16 and the top 8 battle, he struggled to get out of the gate, and it sort of he checked up really badly at the end of the chicane, and then sort of took off once he got into gear or got into his power band or whatever. And I probably would have flagged those runs and made them come around and start again, because yeah, if it was when we were judging Catch Kings last year, or if it was something else like that, I would have been like, yeah, no, that's a scratch. Like, go try that again. And if the same shit happens, then I'm probably going to give the points to the other guy, because it just makes for a really dicky start, especially considering the first 2 corners on that track are the only important ones really. If the first 2 corners are fucked up, then there's no battle. The other car's just gone. So yeah, I thought that was a bit off. Not saying any foul play, but I probably would have pulled that up a little bit differently. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about in the comments, Warwick. Maybe it slipped out of gear. As you steer through the chicane, maybe it like makes the gear stick flop out of gear. Where on the chase it just stays straight and it sort of pushes itself back. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I remember the pulls because I watched it in fast form after the event. What sort of stuck out most for you guys? I don't remember a crazy amount of the top 16 really. That was the battle that stuck out for me the most, because I thought there might be punch-ons, and then they did an awkward interview afterwards.
Yeah. Super.
I gotta say the main driver that actually stuck out for me was SVG. Like all of his runs, I was really pumped to watch. Like I thought they were really interesting to watch. There was no stuffing around in any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does that just show what happens when a suspension company and race engineers build a drift car in Australia? Because the guys who are managing the car were friends of
Murray too.
No, yeah. So Murray did the suspension for the car, but they interviewed him and he spoke about it. His mate, who's a former race engineer, managed the car through the weekend. So,
right.
Yeah. So you've got this car that's, doesn't get driven very often. A driver that doesn't drift very often. Yes, world-class driver. Doesn't drift very often. And I know that car's been taken over for him to drive it at D1NZ. But still not in it a whole lot. But the fact that he was able to jump in and do what he did, is that more of a testament to what... to a really solid package.
You get a charger, Steve.
Yeah, get a charger, Steve.
It's an iPhone. I can't do both things.
But I'm pretty sure Skype does a good job of cutting out the speaker through the microphone, so you could probably unplug it and still talk.
Maybe. There you go. Anyway, you guys keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you guys think on that?
I think Steve should switch over to Android.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd be interested to see anybody who can string a good lap together if they would jump into that car and not have too many issues. Like even somebody like Australia's former best. Oh, no, I think you're still Australia's best. Oh no, Botcher's overtaking you now. So you used to be Australia's best drifter, and now Josh Botcher's Australia's best drifter. But even Australia's former best drifter, Jake O'Mara, jumping into that car. it'd be interesting to see how he would handle it, or some of the other guys who are out there. Yeah, it's just exciting to see, really.
I think
I guess one of the other.
the layout actually suited Ben Gisberg's driving, like his experience.
Yeah, of course. But I think you still would have been able to do the other stuff. But the car just looked settled and it worked all weekend, where other guys were having dramas. So
yeah, that's because I don't think that wasn't a last minute build like a lot of the cars, was it?
yeah,
It's been like tested constantly. I think some of the Queensland drivers had actually tested the car. Steve doing.
And then even, did you have a look at Yokoi's car?
I was meaning to, but I didn't.
Because suppose that was very basic, but that's the lightest car that he's, according to some of his social media stuff, the lightest car that he's ever built. That's like a full. His phone died. iPhone problems. I think even it's got like a carbon roof skin or a lightweight roof skin, and everything's sort of moved down as low as possible. Yeah, he's still running his GTR rear knuckles and standard, Skyline handbrake and stuff, but I'm pretty sure he pretty much stripped everything he possibly could out of that and shaved it down in other ways. And I think even lighter than his lightest ever, so lighter than his FD car. So, yeah, I think the fact that sort of moving weight around still seems to produce a rocket ship, because that car was probably one of the fastest of the weekend. I know you made a comment, EG, that car was even fast doing doughies, so. I think he almost launched over the fence doing doughies.
It's a fast car. No, it was. I didn't have a good look over it. I didn't have a good look over a lot of the cars, actually. I don't know why.
Mate, you're fucking useless.
Yeah.
I can't miss another one now because you're not a good pit reporter.
Yeah, well, I'm not used to doing that stuff.
But I guess, yeah, overall, I think there's still a lot to be learnt from some of these events. I liked the extra cars. Having more cars, I think, was good.
Yeah.
Cars.
Like going from whatever they had last year, the 24.
They had 2 extra pools or something, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, they had one extra car per pool. So 8 extra cars meant, 8 extra. Oh no, whatever we worked out, extra battles in the 8 extra battles in overall in the pools. So yeah, it was good. So I think that's good. I think South Circuit still continues to rear its ugly head as not the greatest circuit for competition. DK continues to rear his ugly head as setting a traditional drift line and not moving. Well, that's what would have been expected back in, the late 90s, but times have changed.
Yeah.
Traditional racing, like traditional drifting line.
Yeah, I think it's just his thought process. And
yeah. And just the no braking traction thing before entry is so old school. Like, and then, yeah, again, I don't know how it was being judged, but there were some guys who just went back to braking traction because it was the safest way to get the car unsettled. So that's what they were doing.
For that.
Yeah, like Andy Gray and stuff were just doing smoky boys out of pretty much straight out of the gate and being able to use that to chuck the car in, where I know for a fact somebody like a Glenn Ormerod was taking that as gospel and trying not to unsettle the car before initiation. So
that's what I was trying to tell some of the guys, like, see what you can get away with, because there's a lot of stuff that they didn't really stick to.
Yeah, well, I spoke to somebody. I said, like, well, what's the point in getting a 0 on a run because you've flubbed the entry because you haven't lost traction early? Where if you lose half a point for losing traction early, then at least then you're going to get a score. So I think it sounds like next year it's supposed to all be happening again.
I think so.
Which is more than we heard last year.
Yeah, just for some posts that I saw pop up, looks like it's going to go ahead this year. I don't know if it was to do with trying to get hype, but there were a lot of people saying that it wasn't going to happen this year.
Well, we know we had people on the inside that said that it wasn't. It was a cost issue, or it was going to move. But clearly, Sydney Motorsport Park came to the table in the end. But hopefully they go back to North Circuit. I think it's a better arena for this style of thing. Or I'd love to see a competition on turn 3 backwards into turn 2, because nice sweeping left-hander into a really long, closing radius left-hander or right-hander at that stage.
What's the spectators like?
There's heaps of space to put people, but there's nothing there. There's no toilets. There's no speakers. There's no nothing. So, and you're going the wrong direction, and cams would probably have a fucking meltdown.
Yeah, they would. But no, they didn't even have all the toilets open at the event. Like, they had them closed, and they had portaloos.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's a possibility, but yeah, I guess we wait and see. Or make the task wider on the front straight, put all the crowd in the grandstand, and do some sort of like demo style event on the front straight. And
no. Did you see when they did that before? The Drift Outlaws thing.
No, not like that. I mean, like, you do a hairpin and have come back on itself and all that. So.
Didn't they do that?
Like a Jake Jones in China style event.
Yeah, and wasn't Top Gear like that as well?
Maybe I wasn't around at that stage, so.
They had to fish you down, and then there was like a cone, not a cone, but like a big barrel that they had to go around and go back up the straight.
But I'm not sure that would impress most drivers, because it'd be fairly slow. So yeah, let's leave War Time Attack. We'll see what happens next year. Yeah, don't think there's anything. I think that our crowd wants us to talk about Mount Gambier and I don't know. There's just you've got more to say. Okay, go. Fucking throw it at us.
It's fine. No, we'll keep going.
You clearly didn't want to say it because you haven't said it yet.
Sorry. No, it's alright. Let's go.
Well, Mount Gambier is on YouTube, boys, because you were there and I wasn't.
Did you watch the live stream? Because there was one.
I only watched the top 4, maybe. I haven't gone back and watched the rest. I was doing stuff.
How much did you watch, Jake? Where were you standing?
When Logan was still in, I was just in front of the truck, because I was sort of spotting for him, and then I moved down to like halfway, almost down to the dip, I guess. So, and then I was just watching the live stream on my phone with like that 30-second delay. So as soon as they finished, they came on the live stream, which was cool.
It was good.
Or if they didn't come back, you knew to watch it.
Yeah. Also, then I could see like the first like half of the battle and see what actually happened, instead of just listening to what Fink was saying over the radio and Mitch. So, because they were commentating.
Yeah. I guess this year there was an extra corner added for the competition. I thought you guys might not run that extra corner for comp, but how did you find it from a judging point of view?
Judging point of view?
Yeah.
Myself?
Was it?
I think the extra corner was fine if the judging was a bit different. It's a little bit hard because there's trees as well, so trying to find a good spot is difficult.
Well, you guys ended up standing like right on the inside of the crest, right?
No, we were in a truck.
Yeah.
You ended up in the truck?
Yeah, and there was a bit of a crowd as well, so it was good that we had the live stream there, because sometimes the crowd, especially when LZ came out, people would just chuck their arms up in the air, and then they'd take a video of him. So sometimes suddenly your view would just be blocked, just because people were just going crazy over him. Adding the extra corner, I thought it would cause an issue with gapping, but after I drove it on Friday, it felt like it took me a little while to get into it, because I couldn't really figure out the line straight away, because everyone had sort of stuck to something, and then I sort of left behind because I didn't really start driving until after midday or around midday, and then but after I figured it out, it was fine. Like it really does, it can flow through. You can join link all the corners together without that much issue. You couldn't?
No, I couldn't
Really?
link them. No.
Okay. Even in my car?
I didn't want to in your car. I was too scared in your car.
Really?
I didn't want to crash it again. I already crashed it once, and then I didn't want to do it again. So
yeah,
I was doing third gear where I had to, and then
Yeah.
I was just keeping it off the walls pretty much.
But I'm sure with a low power car, you would have been judging it how you'd judge any other event. If a car can't link it and they just sort of pull the car straight and then reinitiate, that was sort of the original clip point for the lead car. There was only 2 extra clipping points compared to the traditional layout anyway. Sort of the initiation point and then the outside of that first corner, just after the corner. But then the one on the wall, as you're about to come over the, before you come over the crest and transition to the left, that's always been there for the lead car. So, Jesus Christ, mate.
My mum calling me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. At least you got one friend. So yeah, your car really wouldn't link it?
No, I was running a new tire as well, so
too much grip, not enough speed.
Yeah,
much of a straighten out though.
Yeah, there was a bit. So you're in third, or I was shifting to third through the corner, and then it'd pretty much just grip up, and then I'd re-enter on the next clipping point.
Yeah, which I don't think would be a huge issue.
But I only got like 3/4 of the first day worth of driving in. So. Oh,
you broke it on Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you broke it on Saturdays.
No.
Well, that's good work. Did Nick kill his car too?
Yes.
Why didn't
it was like an electrical gremlin.
Ah, okay. Because I'd seen that he crashed it or something, and then I saw.
Yeah, he hit me.
Then I saw basically no footage of him or pictures of him that have really shown up post crash. So.
Oh, there's a few out there. So what did he do? He damaged his headlight indicator and front bar.
Yeah. Or what kept him off the track?
So he got back out there, and then the ECU randomly stopped keeping the fuel pump on. So that got hardwired.
That's factory though, right?
Switch. Nah, PRC.
Best ECU. I just asked lots of people.
Yeah, and then that worked for a while. Then Sunday morning, I think Sean went for a drive in it to go pick Connor up from his tow car, and then it wouldn't start again. And that was the end of it.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fairly stock car life. EG's got a question. Been asked a question in the comments about the clipping points for World Time Attack. I'm sure you can answer that in.
So what was
50
the deal
words
with
or
the
less?
clipping points at World Time Attack? It looks he gave you a shout out on the stream last night.
Oh, he was on Twitch.
Who? He said nice things.
Alexi. I'm pretty sure.
Remember, EG's old. He doesn't understand any of this shit.
Twitch.
He's like, "What? Twitch is like a seizure, right?"
What did he say on the? I wonder what he said on the.
But just answer Scott's bloody questions, mate. He asked about the clipping points.
Clipping points. The clipping points at World Time Attack were a sort of Sachia style line. So the clipping points were all inside clips, except for the first one, the first zone, which was
outer. But that's a traditional racing line.
But yeah, you would have, if you were racing, you would have come out wide, and then you sort of. There was actually inside clip, but the problem with one of the first inside clip after the first corner was it was moving on Friday. So when they got
Like every
set
time I
back
got
up,
hit, it was always
it
different
moved
spot.
to a different spot. So I don't know if that actually was taken into consideration or not. From where I was sitting next to judges, it was really hard to see. The judges had a live stream, so they could go back and view that, but I couldn't really see that because the live stream screen was like tiny, like a 34 centimeter little monitor kind of thing. So I couldn't see it where I was standing. And yeah, all in the clips. It was pretty much a racing line up the hill, just like I sort of thought it would be, just because it's Tsuchiya, and that's the style that he's been sort of running his competitions in Japan.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't too bad. I would have been a lot stricter on the criteria, but I don't know where things got slipped through. I know there's some bits that you can't actually see with the cameras and the judging area. So some of the inside corners where you're meant to keep away from, you could actually cut quite a bit, and then sort of block a driver off. And it's really hard to tell. So I don't know if some of the drivers are taking advantage of that. That could have been, but yeah, there's some blind spots, I guess, on the track, which having a big, so like this is size wise, it's a big track, and it's really far from where the judges were. So just to explain,
Where were the
where
judges?
the judges?
Were you guys near the crest?
So the judges were pretty much at the finish line.
Ah, yeah, right.
So if you know where the toilets are at the top, they were sort of on the drift side of the toilets.
Yeah.
And so you could see most of the course. There was a little bit obscured between turn 1 and turn 2, but the live stream camera could pick up on it, but you couldn't see it from the judge's spot because it was obscured by like a concrete wall.
So as the crow flies on Google Maps, it's about over 200 meters from the first inner clip to where the judges were.
Tsuchiya wouldn't even been able to see that.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, like that's a big distance. So
yeah, it's interesting. I think if there was more of a combination between inner and outer clips, it might have worked better. But I think there's a lot of it's right. There's a lot of negativity about all inside clips. But I did actually run. So when I did spawn the challenge, that was all inside clips as well. But the reasons were different. So
yeah.
And the reasons were to block people from getting in the wrong spot. So I didn't want them to get close. So I want them to get the inside clip to push the chase car away.
The one of the big problems with that track, really, from a judging point of view, is because of the nature of the track around that layout. There's no good spot to really be able to set up a judge's stand either easily.
So ADGP, I think it was ADGP, or when FD Asia came over, they set up the judges area pretty much in line, or in line and in front of the straight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they were sort of in line with the straight, but facing in a direction where they can see,
most
3,
of the
4,
corners,
yeah.
as opposed, like you're sort of looking a little bit away from the start line.
Yeah. I don't know if that's actually a better position or not.
Well, I think it's hard because you sort of you've got the two extremes. It's a similar distance, but you kind of see different points, and the more crucial points easier, but you're also more blinded by smoke.
Yeah, and you're blocked off by certain things, like you can't see the far side. So you kind of want to see like the length of the section rather than I guess, across it, because if there's any clips on the other side, you really have to look for other signs. And the problem with that track is it's so big. Like something like Mount Gambier, if you're not on the other side of the road, and it's really like if you're not on the outer cliff on the other side, you can tell because there's no room. Like there's a lot of indicators that it's clear to see the guy.
You've shut the door, sort of thing. Yeah.
Whereas a track like Eastern Creek, it's like, I don't know, 10 meters wide. Like it's such a wide track that
it can cover up a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, so you can't see that. But I like the idea of sitting in the crowd, because if you're in the crowd judging, then you should have the same experience as a judge.
100%.
So that way, your excitement and their excitement should be the same.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And previous years I've sat in a similar spot to where they were judging from. So yeah.
I would really like to sit on the other side of the fence to judge sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that'd work with all the stuff that you need, because you definitely need helpers. Like you need people to help you out judging. Then you need all the additional things like your notes, anything that keeps scores, and then you want the spotters to not come up and talk to you, but sort of overhear things, so then that way they can communicate to the drivers and then make the show better.
Yeah. Well, I guess we wait and see what comes of all of it next year, I guess.
I think North would be better for this event, this type of event. But I still like South. Like I like driving. When they said that the start line was around the corner next to the pits, that was awesome, because I did that before, and just getting that huge run up, you get over the crest, it's freaking cool. Like you kick just over the crest, like, or before the crest even, like, and then you swing in and you just slide all the way down. It's freaking fun. The rest of it's just a burnout. So
yeah, I honestly think you could just almost do a tandem backy competition, do the massive run up and just do the left hander and then blaze off back up underneath the bridge and come back around really quickly and hit it at speed again, and almost a demolition derby entry competition. So I think that would be cool. Honestly, I think it would probably end up being a sick event, because you'd have like you guys like your Nakamuras and stuff trying to do crazy shit, and then guys trying to match them. Where when you've got to try and make the next transition, I think you end up taking less risk as a chase car on that section, where I think it could make for a really cool entry. Just the nature of the next corner doesn't lend itself for that.
Yep.
All right, let's jump back on to Gambier. Weather seemed to wreak a little bit of havoc down there.
Man, it
Same
was
weather
terrible.
shit.
Windy, rainy, cold.
It
It sounded like it was fucking freezing.
No.
Oh, it was sunny as well. It was like four seasons.
Yeah, it was. The problem was it wasn't just wet or just dry. It was just like.
It sounds like what Melbourne looked like for another event.
Threatening rain. So,
and it rained hard for like 10 minutes, and then it had turned back to drizzle, and then the driving line would dry up, except for over the crest, and then
just because of the tree coverage, and then so when you came in, it was dry. Kick over the crest, and it's slippery as, and then suddenly it'll grip up on the uphill.
That's why Adam hit the wall in the last battle where he called Cam out.
Yeah.
Australian LC.
So how many drivers
Friday
were
was
cashing?
insane wind. Insane. Like they when we came back on Saturday, there was trees pulled out of the ground because of it.
It was definitely the drifter's fault. So how many drivers ended up doing Cash Kings?
13.
Yeah.
Zach pulled out because he was having car issues. I pulled out because my car was dead.
Yeah.
I think they were one person off the top 16.
Yeah. So how'd you guys end up doing the So you end up doing just a draw for bye runs first, and then call outs after that for top 16.
Yep.
So Adam actually got a bye in his. Well, he drew the first one and drew a bye straight away, but then because he wanted it to be, I don't know,
Fair.
YouTube videos or something or fair. Yeah, he swapped someone, seeing if anyone needed car.
So, yeah.
And,
And he gave it to Ricky.
Yeah.
Oh, so he got to choose who he gave it to? He just didn't put it back in the deck?
No, he just volunteered. He just said someone can volunteer to take it. Like, no one took it straight away. And then after a little while, then Ricky took it.
Bloody typical Queenslander. Irish Queenslander.
I think everyone wanted to battle Adam. That was the thing.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
They wanted to be in the competition to battle him. And then if he got knocked out in the first one, they wouldn't battle him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're taking one of the biggest risks too, because you're versing a dude who looked fairly comfortable. So, you know, there were some guys in that you could probably take on and knock them out fairly early, like a Logan Waterhouse.
he got a bye, luckily.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
I was helping trying to fix his car.
Or you just keep calling out Chaos Scott and hope that the dude writes off his car.
He did.
Yeah, I know.
I saw in a post today that he's looking for parts for his second car, so he can take that to.
Second round of.
Yeah.
Crazy. From what I saw, overall driver quality really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool event. Like, you missed out.
Yeah, I know. I watched it and watched bits and pieces, and as soon as like videos started showing up from Friday, FOMO started kicking in really badly, and I was like, should have I strained myself to get there? But I don't necessarily regret my decision, but I hope
you should.
Yeah, you should.
But I hope it means that Luke and the other guys behind DCA sort of get their shit together and try and make something more happen next year with the series, because it reminded me why DCA is sort of the success it is from producing, you know, really strong drivers point of view. I think the hiatus this year, you know, has been kind of sad because event like that showing up sort of really does show why DCA does produce what DCA does. So Cam Martin ended up winning the event. I think on the live stream it wasn't super
he was driving
clear.
sick.
Because I think he had a spin.
Sorry?
In the final. Ricky.
I'm gonna get AG to explain it for me as well.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, it's
because I think there was two spins in the. There was two spins in the.
Yeah. So
in the final.
So, what I saw and what the others saw were different. So the other judges for the final. So I was the only person going.
Called rerun?
Cam. No. So, so the final battle, the very final run, both cars spun. So they spun roughly at the same time. If you're watching.
Yeah.
Now, what I saw Cam come over the crest, have lots of angle, go to transition, so he had control at that point, and Ricky was already spinning behind him.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then for some reason Cam spun, and then Ricky spun and stopped. But I think what most people saw was
Cam spin and then Ricky spin.
Cam came with lots of angle and then spin out. So they didn't see, because I was watching his wheels and I could see he was like steering, and he steered more, as in to put more lock into it. So I was like, okay, so at that point he wasn't spinning. And then he went to flick the other way and then the car spun. Whereas when I saw Ricky, he was just spinning across the crest. So I sort of argued that point, and Luke didn't agree. So he's like, he was really in disagreements with me. So he radioed, he got the guys on the track to go over to Ricky, and they asked Ricky, and Ricky was really good about it. And then Ricky said, "No, I was spinning, and I spun by myself." So yeah, it was good. Like it's really good that he was that honest.
Yeah.
That's what I thought as well. I said that the other day.
Because Fink was like, he was
adamant.
so adamant, and I was like, I think if I was any other person, he would pick me up and just like, you fucking idiot, what are you thinking? Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, no, I saw it.
But honestly, I think that's one of the best parts with DCA is the fact that most guys, because of the vibes of the events, if you go and ask them that sort of stuff, will be super critical about themselves in the runs. Most of them. I'm sure there'd be some people who would have gone the opposite to that, but I think most seem to play it pretty fair and straight. And even all the guys' videos from like Adam's videos were a good example, and a few of the other guys who are posting videos from in car during the comp, like the start procedure at DCA with the whole thumbs up and not going super crazy off the line and everything. Every car was pretty much side by side with each other. Once it got wet, I think Dale almost drove Adam off the track.
I saw that.
Before
that was Adam's fault, though.
Yeah, a little bit, but
no, it was stated in the driver's briefing that he had to like fall back,
drop back
behind a lead car. Yeah.
But yeah, little bits and pieces like that. But the fact that it was wet and skatey and stuff like that. But yeah, I think just the culture side of it is why people have a sick time. So, I wait and see what happens next year, I guess.
Yeah.
So Cam winning, I don't think was necessarily a massive surprise. The last time that the event was held, he showed up with a 32 two-door, I'm pretty sure, and pretty much wrote. 33. Yeah, 33 two-door. Sorry, and pretty much wrote the fucking thing off.
Yeah.
Well, I think he did write the thing off. It was still drivable, but was a write-off. So he was, I think, primed and ready to sort of do some good things, and he's also had a massive year at Vic Drift too. I'm pretty sure he's done some really good.
Yeah.
He's had some second twice or something.
Yeah, he's had some podiums this year, a couple of rounds, I'm pretty sure. So, and I don't think the weather would have phased him because I think he does a lot of street lamp inspections, plus the fact that drifting in Victoria, I think you get the 4 seasons in one day at drift events too. So, definitely not. Definitely not inexperienced on that sort of surface. Ricky coming second, not really a surprise either. That dude does a shitload of laps in Queensland. Like a shitload of laps. I think even the couple of weeks apart that I did the days at Archie, he was out there. And then third was Adam because he didn't have to verse Kale, and Kale was fourth because in the top 4 battles he wrote his car off very badly. But that's Kale for you. No fucks given.
Oh man.
What did he say? He thought he'd just pin it to try and like.
Well, he thought that it was still savable. Yeah.
It was not savable at all.
Well, but you know what it's like going over that crest. Once you know your car's over that crest, you don't really necessarily know if the car's running well or not because there's so much momentum that's carrying the car forward that you're sort of just like,
I think.
You hope the car's going to switch back.
I think he was thinking if he makes it over, he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But he didn't make it over.
Which is cool, and Yeah, what knocked Matt Harvey out? I haven't gone back and watched.
Matt Harvey.
That's
He
standard
was
Matt.
super aggressive. It was like
Who'd he verse?
he would have been like 4 centimeters, I reckon. 4 centimeters too close. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like bash bar to bash bar.
Yeah. It was.
Matt was
when
too
they did
close
the
on
switch,
transition.
When they did the switch, they didn't even hit. They didn't even clip on when the left and right sides came together. They clipped right in the middle.
Front to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that against? Was that against Ricky?
Ricky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I need to go back and watch. But look, I'm happy guys like that didn't sit back and try and, because he probably could have played it safe, probably won that battle by hanging back just another 30 centimeters. But it seems like these guys everybody was going fairly hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went for a ride with Matt, and he was like on another level. Like his car and his drive-in. We were chasing Lipchinsky. I can't pronounce his name. And yeah, it was just crazy. Just Matt in that place is freaking fun.
Yeah, and so I've seen some data from a company that we're going to try and get on the show next week that will hopefully finally have a product to come out. And from my understanding, that data showed Matt a few times over the hill at 110k an hour plus.
Yeah, he was so much quicker throughout the whole course than anyone else with the ballast gear on.
So
on a better line as well.
Yeah, and I know Adam. Some of the data I saw, Adam was doing over 100 over that crest, which I thought was crazy. And then Michael told me to go and have a look at Matt's stuff, and yeah, pretty insane. So I think definitely big things to come from Matt and that car in the next year or two. But it's just, I think he just needs more seat time with guys who are just as aggressive as him, so that he can get some, I guess, used to that distance. I know he's spending a shitload of time on a set of Corsa too, so yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know if it's seat time. I think he needs to maybe throttle back a little bit at some times, like some occasions.
Yeah.
Like Chelsea. Has to run at 80%.
Yeah.
So if Ricky's chimed in on the comments and he's basically said, "Fuck you, EG, it should have been a one more time." He didn't say that. He said he couldn't get back on throttle because he was spinning. Thought it'd be a one more time, but yeah. Look, fair play for Ricky taking ownership of the situation when asked a straight up question. So. I guess moving forward with events like that, it's how do we get drivers to show up to those events? I think the worst part with the Gambier event is it's got this stigma about it with all the crashing, but the crashing happens because people get carried away.
Yeah, the only reason you crash is because of yourself.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Where you can do that event without having to hit any walls, and really safely do that event without even going sort of near the walls now. And I know, and it was funny to see some of Adam's footage coming from on Instagram and even his vlog stuff. And basically the fact that he was getting a rush every time he was coming over that hill. And that guy's driven a lot of tracks in the States, driven some absolute weapon drift cars, and to say that was giving him, one of the biggest rushes he's ever gotten. Ben Snell is the reason people are scared. That's probably a little bit true.
Ben Snell came up with a clean.
It was super clean Seffi.
Yeah. And then he's like, I don't care if you hit it. But then when I went behind him, it was very clean. But he said, no, just hit it.
At the end of the week.
No, yeah, I didn't get to drive with him again.
Well, didn't he do something similar to that with that bloody disgusting coloured 32 on the second year of the second year's event?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he had that.
Did he?
He had like
Yeah,
had
the
like that
four-door.
weird, the 4-door beigey brown, like
Yeah, I
pink
think it
coloured.
was cool.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he smacked the shit out of the rear end of that car too.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad though. Nowhere near as bad as the
The
Sephiro's
Sephi,
event.
but it's a fucking
Yeah.
Sephi. They're ugly anyway. Probably looks better now.
Oh, Nick's gonna slit your throat.
Nah, fucking ugly cars.
Yeah, it wasn't even that bad. No, it wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah, and then last year he had the 31. Yeah, like, yeah. Maybe he just
but
needs.
that was already
Bit
slightly
fucked up.
beat up. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but it's things like that I think do put some people off a little bit, and I think because that's the more exciting stuff, it gets shown more. But then there are some people who go through the event and can come out of it unscathed. But yeah, look,
I think you won't hit if you're doing average.
yeah,
But if you're going
you
too
can,
slow, you'll crash. If you're going too
Yep.
fast, you're like if you're being too tame, you'll crash. If you're being
yeah, but
really
that's
aggressive,
if you're trying. That's if you're trying to
you're
link the whole
risking.
track.
No, you can link the
Nah.
whole track pretty safely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But then,
But
like with the aggression, like you take that risk. But like people were going too slow, and that's why they were crashing because they don't
Yeah.
get the arc. Like they're trying to link an arc that's a lot. The link is actually the arc is a lot longer. So when they go too slow, they'll pull up short, and then they'll do something weird. So you need to like go fast.
look, we're trying
It'll
to
go down.
sell this event to people who might not want to go to it. All right, but it also comes
No,
down.
it's
but
safe though.
yeah,
as
and
long as you
They
go
just need to
faster.
But at least as long as they understand that you're the direction, like with that speed, you get the momentum, and you're going that direction. Like you.
Yeah, and it really does actually drive you away from a lot of the walls too, if you actually carry enough momentum. I had some ass clenching moments the 2 years that I did, and
It's because you
because
got
I
too
actually had,
cautious.
yeah, but I also carried at just enough speed that when I washed out, it sort of drove you more forward and away from the wall rather than pushing you outwards into the wall. So,
And it's
I know
quite
about
open now as well.
yeah, massively open.
So if you are really scared, you just cut the inside.
Yeah, well, not too much because I think I saw
you're
a I think
scared, or you go. Maybe you take.
I think
your
I
time
saw a
that line, but
I think I saw a VE Ute do 2 or 1 wheel, and I think I saw a red S13 photo on. I think it was probably only on 1 wheel at one stage. So,
Yeah. No, there's like a whole montage of that.
So,
It's like 5 photos as I get higher.
but
there's a
yeah,
sequence.
look, hopefully the event continues to happen. I know even with sort of driver numbers not being hugely crazy this year, it's still a massive stimulus package for the town because it's a lot of guys still coming in. What were crowd numbers like? I know the weather was absolutely shit.
It was really
They're
good.
pretty big on
really
Sunday.
Shit. Yeah, weather. There was a lot of Adam fans. So many.
Seemed like a lot of people had travelled to come, or just a lot of people in town.
I don't know how to tell. Like, I guess you'd have to look at the car park to see, the number of plates that turned up.
Yeah.
But
I was
Yeah.
talking to a few people, and some people travelled a fair way.
Yeah.
Just for it. So, but I was just looking at the ABC video that they did. That's got like 121,000 views on it now.
Yeah, that's.
It's crazy.
Is that on YouTube? Is that the YouTube one or the Facebook one?
The Facebook one.
See, Facebook's algorithm's bullshit. As long as you get a view that's over 3 seconds, then it shows up as a view.
That's enough.
they got me doing the old twist and tape. That's what I was doing.
And not too many negative comments in the comments on that ABC video.
Just Carolyn.
Ideally, they would try and, if it was to happen again next year, that they'd try and get ABC to run story using their old footage before the event, because there's a whole bunch of comments in there being like, oh, let's go. And it's like, yeah, it was last weekend.
Yeah, probably needed a bit more promotion about that because I think a lot of people would have booked.
Yeah,
booked in earlier.
Yeah, and because everything gets sort of lost in the world of social media now, you don't really see what the event is. You just sort of hear that Adam's coming, and most people are lazy and don't do a whole lot of research. It would have been like, oh, it's in the ass crack of nowhere, not worth trying to go for.
Yeah, it's a cool area. I like going there. Well, what did you think,
Man,
Jake?
I drove 6,500 Ks, blew my car up on the Friday, and I still thought it was a freaking sick event, and it was worth it. So
yeah, that's Mount Gambier for you. That's just how that event goes.
And the KFC, that KFC was really nice as well. The one we had on Saturday night. They cooked it well.
Hey, you're supposed to be eating at the G on the Saturday night.
Yeah, but we were late.
They'd been there for like an hour, and they were still lining up ordering food by the time we rocked up after we'd eaten ours. So
yeah, and we were late. We were like half an hour late. So
typical Team Red Sage.
Yeah.
Has there also 60 minutes of Bennett winner was the 180 taxi, I'm guessing, I believe.
Yes, Adam Elsie picked the winner.
Yeah.
I thought
because Adam's car was broken, right?
Yeah, he crashed into the wall, did a LCA, and he needed my caster rods. Yeah. So he's got my caster rod brackets in his car.
Did you charge him a shitload?
I think just said send him an invoice. So.
Boom.
You're getting my build for my 8.6.
You're getting a sequential box for the 8.6, motherfucker. And it looked like 10. It seemed like trains started super early.
Yep.
About lunchtime on Friday, I think.
I was like, oh, there's a lot of solo runs going here, like on Instagram early in the day, and then
those big guys started pretty quickly.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Corolla. That dude should have entered Cash Kings.
I know, he was so good. I don't know if you saw him. The V8. Black KE, the V8 one. I think it was cool, and I think.
Did it not? Yeah. Why did he not do Cash Kings? Just didn't want to drop the money.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because he was in almost every bit of footage that I saw that came out of the weekend.
He was cool.
Yeah, look.
I kind of wanted what he did like actually in sort of competition.
Yeah.
He was almost on form, like from his first run that I saw. It was sick.
Yeah, I just wonder if maybe the Cash Kings format, especially when numbers are a little bit down, is do you cut the entry fee in half and try and just build the numbers, see who's keen at what price, and just get some more guys to do it. I know the prize money ends up being the same as what it was if you cut it in half and double the number of drivers, but just sort of makes it for a more exciting competition, I guess, from my point of view. But yeah, I think 500 for a lot of people tends to be probably the turn off a little bit, especially for the guys who don't feel like they're experienced enough.
There's another competition that exists in this country that's just more than double, and you get a tenth of the prize. No, not even a tenth.
Yeah, but it wasn't only that entry fee. You had the entry fee for the actual event too. So
if you bought both at the same time, it was only $700.
Yeah, $700, but it's still $400 more than your standard entry
for 3 days of drifting.
Yeah, but some people are there on it. I saw a few
with more than 10 times the prize money.
Yeah, but I saw some manga cars there, which the cars probably cost them $1,000. Entries cost them $300. They've probably used $200 in tires and however much in fuel to get there. They've probably done the weekend. The car.
They had a freaking cool tow car.
Did they?
Yeah, the Commodores. They had a truck, and then the dude had like a ramps going up from his car trailer up onto the back tray of the truck that he drove up on. It was sick.
Yeah, that's normal for car trailers behind trucks.
But
and we got on TV too. We got on TV this time as well.
Oh yeah, you did, and definitely more views than I think. I'm not going to talk too much shit.
You're going to get bashed.
Yeah, probably. And then if I decide to show up at the track next weekend, then I'll probably get killed. So
I'm not going.
Nah. Oh yeah, it's a bit far for you.
It's not that. It's just
too scared.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure those threats are real.
Oh yeah, you got threatened the last time you showed up to one of those events. So
Yeah, fuck that. They can stay with their crappy event.
like he throws, he's like, I'm not going, so I'm going to throw shade even harder.
I'll get rid of those people, and then I'll think about it. Otherwise, no.
So has there
While
been
you've got
any?
those people in that event, it's shit. Like you just can't have them there.
Has there been any? Was there any talk or any rumors about? Oh yeah, let's cover this first. There was a $50 side bet that took place.
Yeah, that was a good
I think
one.
I saw it on Luke's vlog, and I sort of knew from the beginning. I think it was funny that Connor in the Prelude was a little bit hesitant to take the bet to start with, but Regan's Regan. Like you're gonna win that shit no matter what. Like you could have done it on, you could have done it on foot and won it.
Well, the reason why is a little bit. The thought came, like he sort of thought about it for a moment, was he actually has never seen Regan drive, so he doesn't know what to expect, if it's like a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, but yeah.
And then,
he would have seen him. He would have seen him driving. Luke. I'm sure Connor watches Luke's vlogs and stuff, so he would have seen some of his stuff.
He's too busy making his own things.
Yeah. I know he's playing that shit in the background. So 2 times the speed, so I probably thought he was super fast.
Well, no. The funny thing was he sort of watched Regan drive on the Friday and went, "Oh shit, Regan's actually pretty quick."
Yeah, but it's Regan. He does some potato shit. So.
Well, yeah, he did potato it.
Yeah.
I was talking to both of them on the centers as they were doing it, and that as Regan was spinning, he's like, "Oh crap," and like shitting his pants, and then next minute Connor's in front of him, and then they're both pissing themselves laughing, and I was like, "Oh, that was fucking sick, eh?" And that went on for like 5 minutes after it happened.
Special boys.
And then Regan paid Connor in $5 bills.
Yes.
Must have gone to the cash out at Shadows.
No, it was a fun event. You should have come.
Missed out.
And then is there any rumours floating around for what the plans are for next year, or nothing sort of been said too much, or nothing that can be said publicly?
I haven't heard anything. I didn't ask. I'm sorry.
You're fucking such a shitty reporter, mate.
Yeah, I am. I said that at the start of this.
Your live stream didn't have any voiceovers. You weren't talking shit about drivers.
Yeah, because I was going to, but then I left my headset somewhere and I couldn't find it.
So you didn't do that. You didn't ask questions. You barely fucking drove.
No. We're gonna sort this out because I'm gonna do live stream for the Revo days.
Are you gonna shit talk?
Depends who you point the camera at. Because we're gonna have to swap. Like I can't do it all by myself.
Well, I can't swap. My fucking car works all the time.
Ah, bullshit. You always say get out and say you're tired. Like,
Yeah,
I need to conserve my tyres. I need to get home.
Nah, the next rev day I'll probably take it a little bit easier because 2 days I'm probably going to be fucking toast by the end of it. So, yeah. Well, I guess we'll try and suss out from Luke once this weekend coming's over and things have settled. Once Adam's left, about what his plans are. You know, shit with DCA goes quiet, and then DCA comes back and runs an event, and then you realise why Australia needs DCA.
I think he'll start doing. We'll be able to hear a bit more from him over Christmas because that's when that's his sort of downtime for his his track. So yeah, so we'll be able to bug him a bit around that time.
Yeah, and then Mitch Sanders. The real Mitch Sanders made a judging comeback. Was that?
Yeah, he did.
How did he go? I know he had taken. Shit, it's almost been. I think it's been more than 2 years since he judged. He took a big step back for a while. How was he over the weekend?
Yeah, he was pretty good. He's very nervous about judging Cash Kings just because of the money on the line. So
yeah, I think that was one of the reasons originally he sort of wanted to take a bit of a step back.
yeah, and then he tried to make sure to concentrate on the criteria that was set, and that was his like big focus. So which is good because it's better to have that sort of thing rather than this other, what you can get away with. And yeah, it was difficult because the spot we were judging from, I'm not really like a huge fan of it. I'd rather judge from
the
where
tree.
we judged, under the tree a few years ago. That would be my preference. And you just have a flaggy to say, if they actually drifted that first corner uphill. But then with the addition of that corner down near the car park, that would probably make it a bit more difficult again because essentially be cutting half of the track off. But to me, I think I would sacrifice that last corner just to get a spot where I was more comfortable judging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like the little left-hander. The last one or the first corner?
So yeah, cut out the first corner, and then get close to the last corner.
Yeah, I think with that extra corner, if it was from a judge's comfort point of view, that you almost don't need that little left-hander at the end.
No, you don't.
I don't think.
No. It really didn't matter. Like they just needed to make it through that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Previous years, I think it's been good to be able to jump on door there, but with so much other weight that can be put on other sections, the weight on that corner just becomes almost irrelevant.
Yeah, like I've said in the past, it's really low. You just have to kind of make a motion towards the outside clip, and then come in, and then you just have to sort of make it like it's not like we can't see how deep you went into it. You can just sort of see that you went to that clip because you can see it through the trees, but it's not like it's not super critical. It doesn't really affect the chase car that would have backed off at that stage anyway. So you just need that sort of motion.
Yeah. Yeah, I also agree with Maddie's comment saying that not sure about 2 out of 3 judges commentating at the same time. Yeah, I know when I did judge Cash Kings last year at Archie, that event is high pressure. I think Archie is a little bit more difficult because it tends to be a lot of corners done in the layouts. So you really do need to be focused 100% and then make decisions about where you're putting weight and all the little ins and outs of how different things impacted the battle. But yeah, I think 2 commentating is probably a bit of a stretch, but I think that was just probably financial plus logistic plus a few other things. So
it just worked out that way, I think. Luke's pretty good, but I think you kind of need one person commenting on behalf of the judges, like as in like the whole panel.
Yeah.
Just to get that feedback out to the crowd as well as to their spotters and things. So I think maybe not 2, but I think it's just the way things worked out this year was 2.
Yeah, and I think again, I think a lot of things sort of themselves out, and in typical DCA style, if things ended up fairly close and you didn't want to nitpick for things, turn around and go do it again.
Adam got a lot of reruns.
Yeah, like Adam and Dale's 3 reruns or 2 reruns on top of their main battle and stuff like that. It's not nitpicking stupid shit. As soon as there's been a couple of mistakes or a couple of cool things from both drivers, it's pretty much, turn around, go do it again, and either try and better yourself or clean up your act.
Yeah, they were cool battles. They were really good reruns. Like they were.
Yeah.
They were good to watch. I prefer watching those rather than those reruns where they're both shit. So it's all like I can't. It's almost like you kind of pick one, but you want to pick the less shit one and push them through just to get them knocked out. So
I think it'd be pretty insightful for you to do a proper. I don't know, there'd end up being a lot of footage for you to go back through, but yeah, at some competition videoing yourself and
I tried that actually.
Following through with. Because I think, for a lot of people that would be a bit of an eye opener to the hardest part's getting footage of yourself saying it or you talking over the top of a video, and plus you'd probably have to be away from. What the hell have you got going on in your background, Jake?
I don't know. Amy's cooking.
Okay.
I can't really close any doors. It's all open.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, so I did try taking a video of myself and a video from the judges area out towar's the track.
Oh yeah, I was going to say you'd probably have to be separated from the other judges. That way your shit talk doesn't, like you speaking what's coming into your mind isn't impacting what the other guys are thinking. Because I think that can be a bit of a nuisance too. And I think that's probably part of the issue with.
Yeah, so that's interesting because someone else brought up that sort of thing about Time Attack with their judging was they were getting influenced a bit too much by other judges.
Yeah, and I guess when we did Cash Kings last year, we spoke a little bit, but only when it was like things that other people might not have noticed. Especially at Archie when we're standing up on scaffolding in the middle of the track and you're trying to pivot 360 to see stuff, and one person would get a better view than the other. You sort of would be like, we wouldn't say too much, but we would be like, just take note that happened at that point and then leave it at that. Like so-and-so hit so-and-so on transition or whatever. And then occasionally it would come into discussion because we didn't have any sort of replay at all. But yeah, and a few times Luke turned around and told us to shut up and stop talking to each other. If we're going to talk that much to each other, just send them again, sort of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
if it's good enough, if it was that close, you have to discuss it and send them again.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think that's no problem with doing that. If it was, because you're not picking, like, the reason why you do a rerun, I prefer is because they're both good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's that hard to pick between the two, just send them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if they're both flubbing mistakes, just pick the bigger mistake and that person loses.
Pretty much that kind of thing. Like I prefer that. But then sometimes, like, you see something and then the other two judges might miss out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of need to.
Yeah, you need to be like.
Yeah.
Was your decision based around this? Did you see this? And if they're like, no, I didn't see that, then you've got to be like, okay, well.
Yeah, well, they should, but yeah, it's interesting. Like, yeah, there was some people saying that the judges should be separated and they shouldn't talk to each other. But I don't think I'd want that.
Yeah, I honestly think at that stage you need to do it FD style in some ways, where before a decision's made, you need to watch the run by eye, then watch the run by replay, so that you can try and pick up on anything that you may have missed.
Yeah.
I don't think you can watch it once and not have either a replay or being able to say something. Because what you're looking for, especially with two cars, and then if it ends up being some separation or something like that, then there tends to be so much little like nuancy type stuff going on that can have a huge impact on the run. So, especially depending on how many corners and all that sort of stuff you've got. So, did Nathan Greenhill end up doing Cash Kings?
No.
He was only there on the Saturday.
Same as
Same as Troy.
Yeah, Troy.
Because I kept seeing the black car, and I was like, I kept thinking it was Nick, and then I realized it wasn't Nick.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was doing good laps, but then I didn't. Yeah, then I thought it was odd that he wasn't in Cash Kings. So
yeah, I thought he'd be there the whole weekend.
Yeah, but a lot of those boys had a big weekend the weekend before with Wartime Attack. So
Yeah.
anything else notable from the weekend? Well, I guess the having Adam out for the event, it looked like he was happy to pretty much drive with everybody.
It was interesting. Like, he's a really good driver. He was like, I think I went and talked to him and I told him that had a very sort of Japanese style compared to most of the American stuff that we see. But he was also combining a lot of left foot braking, which you don't really see much here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting style, and his driving is really good. He looked really comfortable really quickly, but I think he kind of stuck to. He did drive with other people, but I think he sort of had preferences to driving with people that he sort of was more comfortable with. Yeah.
All the cars didn't look like Ben's.
No, well, Chops was destroyed.
Yeah, but yeah,
he
I
was
guess, yeah.
with Chops, so
Yeah, but when you know
just
somebody
people he
personally.
knew.
I think he's just more worried about hurting someone else's car. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that that car is needed for this weekend as well. So
yeah.
And needs to be driven on and off the boat. So
yeah, well, Luke got it fixed today. I think I saw a photo with
but my understanding is there might be some extracurricular activity going on tonight. So
aren't they in Brisbane at the moment?
No.
Or they fly back down?
He flew back he flew up to Brisbane just to do that Archie, and then he flew back to Melbourne today.
Yeah, right.
Because they get on the boat on
tomorrow,
Thursday.
So my understanding from some insider information is, they might be
going to do some inspections.
Doing some spirited driving tonight. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what comes out from that. But yeah, I think another successful use of bringing a guest driver out. This one's probably almost more for the crowd than for the drivers, as much as it is for the drivers as well.
He was really good. I think driving wise, if people paid attention to him, you'd learn a couple of other things as well. Like the other drivers that Luke has brought different sort of skills, and Adam's a different skill set.
Yeah.
He's I watched him do some of his blogging stuff, and he's freaking smooth with that thing. Like, it's like watching. I know he's a pro, but
he still doesn't like doing it in front of people, though.
Yeah, I know that. He always sort of snuck off, but I was kind of interested, so I tried to watch a little bit what he was doing, and he's freaking smooth. Like, he is a professional vlogger type person compared to other people.
Well, I think this trip has probably been a little bit easier for him because he sort of knew what he was coming into, but also it hasn't been as crazy as what the last trip was. I think the last trip was a little bit overwhelming, almost too many dates back to back with big crowds. And I think by the time he had come down to Sydney for Power Cruise, he was just
exhausted.
Yeah, and the one night that they did the proper meet and greets at Power Cruise, he was there for 3 hours or something taking photos. Okay. I think eventually T started feeding him alcohol in a coffee cup just to get him through. So yeah, but I think this one's was a little bit more low key. Was it open pits during the weekend or open pits during lunch only?
You had to pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sort of kept a lot of people.
Yeah, cautious about approaching him.
Yeah, which is good. That tends to be how Aussie crowds tend to be with celebrities and stuff. They're not as in your face, especially when people are doing their thing. But generally, when they end up in a crowd that's not while they're performing or general public, then they tend to be a little bit more in your face. So I think Aussie crowds are a little bit more respectful in that way. But yeah, overall good impression with him, good interaction. Hopefully he's back out again at some stage. Seems like people here are becoming more and more family to him. It was funny to see. He had a picture on Instagram that he shared that him with a baby, and that was Steph from Queensland's baby, who he spent a lot of time with Steph and Kai and a few other people when he was here on the last trip. So Steph was heavily pregnant at the time, and now he's met the baby. So it's just funny. I think the Queensland crowd's sort of become family a little bit for him. So I'm sure we'll be seeing a little bit more of him in the next couple of years for sure.
Hopefully.
So no, it's good, and I'm glad that everybody's had a good time with it. But let's just hope that more DCA happens.
Yeah, and then I think Luke's been picking pretty good people to bring over.
Yeah.
So
who do you want next?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't know. Like I can understand why he brought Adam over, because he's brings a lot to the event. Like not just the skill, but like his pull, I guess.
Yeah. As I said, the Adam coming was for both sides, the crowd side and the driver's side, where your Forest Wangs, your Kois, all that. Yeah, it'll pull a little bit of a crowd, but it's still mostly for your drivers.
Yeah. Adam pulls like not.
He just pulls everybody.
Fans. Not just with fans, but a lot of just motorsport enthusiasts. So.
Yeah, and I think just anybody who's involved with your younger kids who just love watching YouTube. So maybe some of Adam's cronies from the US, like your Jimmy Oaks and stuff like that, might be people worth bringing over. I just don't think their skill set's necessarily as high as you're probably. I don't even know who that person is.
Jimmy Oaks, the Z32.
Yeah, with the SR in it.
Yeah, no, pass.
I mean, from that's another one that to sort of draw a crowd upon rather than.
Yeah, but that guy's like his audience is like mostly American.
Yeah.
So.
But.
Yeah, I don't know who. I don't know if it's good to get someone. Yeah. Oh. You know what would be cool? James Dean.
James Dean or the Monkey London guy. That would be pretty good. I think Monkey London guy would pull a bit of a crowd.
Yeah, he would, but I don't like.
I don't know who that is.
I don't like.
Do you know who'd be good? Nah, I'm not gonna say it.
I'm waiting.
Nah.
I'm waiting.
I was gonna make a crack about something, but I'm not gonna make a crack about it.
Okay.
You can think what I'm thinking, but I ain't gonna say it. But I think everybody who's come over has just been super fun, and I think the way DCA uses its guest drivers is the way to use a guest driver, because there's so much seat time. Everybody gets to do a lot of laps with. You just get to do a lot of laps with those guys, and See, I'd love to see some of the guys who have already been out before come back. I want to drive with you, Koi, Matt Field, and Chelsea Denofa. Like, I wasn't in.
Oh, Denofa, yes.
I wasn't in around that.
Yeah.
In and around it when those guys came across. So, and I think every single one of those guys has always said that it's the most fun comp that they've ever done before. So.
Denofa's cool. He should come back.
Yeah.
Has a guest driver ever won?
Denofa.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't think he won Calder.
Yokoi won the second.
Yeah, he didn't win the first one because he dropped a wheel or something, didn't he?
Yeah, front wheel. Because Because all the locals are saying. Yes, all the locals are saying. It's really bad to drop a front wheel into the dirt, like an inside corner. So he did it. So we said no, we had to penalise him, and he got knocked out. Matt Field got knocked out. Shinji got knocked out. Jack got knocked
Knocked
out.
himself. Yeah, the
No,
car.
that was because the car
the nipple
failed.
pipe.
Yeah, which sucked because he was really cool. Like he's another interesting driver as well. Completely
Yeah.
different to like he's really skilled. It's more like a rally style, I'd say. Like the way he controls the car, which is cool. Who else do we have as a guest? Tsunaga, which I wasn't know that one. Nakamura was crazy. Like he's always such a good battle driver.
Turk, but that wasn't a comp.
That wasn't a comp. Yeah, Turk would be cool.
Forsberg wasn't a comp either. Right?
Forsberg hasn't come over. No,
hasn't he come for DCA?
No, he did.
No, I don't think so.
World Time Attack.
Yeah, I know he did World Time Attack, but I swear I thought he'd done the Ute or something as well as Turk, but maybe it was just Turk.
No, it's just Turk.
Yeah,
and then
31,
and then what's the Japanese
Forrest
guy who did the last Gambier?
Yoshi.
Yeah, but he wasn't a. He came.
He wasn't a guest.
himself.
He just. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was just sort of announced. So he was like a special driver. He wasn't like a. Yeah, he sort of organised that himself. With some help from some locals. There was Forrest Wang. He's cool.
Forrest came. There's been a lot of podiums from guest drivers.
He didn't quite get there. He
didn't Forrest podium, or did he come top 8? Oh no, I think he was top 8, and he got a little bit screwed by a car that was sandbagging the shit out of it. Fuck the judging that event. Fuck you guys. That was my first DCA event, so.
No,
I drove
like
potatoes,
super shallow. Like when he threw it real hard, but then he was like really shallow every other area, from memory.
I think that was his first right-hand drive.
Was that Shane Van Gisberg?
No, it might have been Shane.
Yeah, could have been Shane.
He was chasing a bloody car that was driving slow as shit, and that guy ended up on the podium, and that pissed me off. So I think another South Australian driver ploughed the back of that car too. So
I wasn't there for Kanguchi's one. You were there.
Yeah, I was there for that. I knocked him out twice. So, yeah. The Newcastle boys still want to kill me and Steve over that one. So, but our boy Ken won the last round of FD. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think DCA would go to Rayleigh with the way things are running at that track at the moment. So it just doesn't. There's not enough flexibility for what DCA wants out of the event.
Yeah. They've started letting him do 4-car trains and that sort of stuff, so it might be a little bit more appealing. But honestly, I think there's more chance of something happening at like a Pheasantwood circuit or something like that for a DCA event than us going back to Rally, I think.
Yeah, actually, Luke's coming down to Tour de Rev.
So, but the problem with there is, spectator area and judging area is a bit shitty, but I'm sure those guys are spending money, so with the right talk, who knows what those guys would do. But yeah, it would be a perfect place for a 2-day event, really. Not too far from Sydney. Luke can't use the excuse of it's too far from a major city. And the fact that it's 20 minutes north from Goulburn, not accommodation's not too bad for people. So
I'm just gonna drive back to Canberra.
Are you seriously driving back between the 2 nights?
Yeah, because it's only an hour away.
It's only an hour, yeah. An hour is nothing to drive.
No, I know, but I'm still just lazy. And the fact that
some people travel further, like longer in Sydney.
I know.
Longer, time-wise.
Yeah.
Just to get home from work.
No, I know. But the fact that we're supposed to be being social on that night, so.
Yeah, just drive home.
After, yeah.
I gotta swap cars
I think
too.
I should be there as well.
You're gonna swap cars. You're gonna bring the 180 on the first day and the 32 on the second because the 180 can't go.
Everyone's jinxing me. They say you can't take the 180 there again because you're gonna be next.
But if you've got no lock, then maybe don't take it. So don't take the 32.
It'll be fine. We'll see. I might just get lazy and sleep in the car and just stay there.
Probably. You can spoon with me, big boy.
Nice.
Anything else you want to cover, or are you happy to leave this one?
No, pretty good. I'm more about what time attack, but not anymore. That's
Yeah, fair enough. We can talk shit off air afterwards.
Topic now.
Next week we have Michael from Driftbit coming on.
Is he going to Tassie as well?
I hope so.
Michael?
I hope so.
Yeah, like
I've seen him on the he went over on the boat last time, partied the whole night, and then when I saw him at the track, he was pretty wrecked.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his plan is, but I can't see any reason why he wouldn't go. He'll be on
I think he'll go.
next week.
I have a feeling he'll go.
Yeah. I basically said is that because I've stayed really up to date with what's been happening over the last year and a half, almost 2 years. There's been a lot that's happened in the background, and I said is that all open for full disclosure, and he's happy to come on and talk about everything that sort of happened in the background. So for the guys who have previously tried to invest in the product and now have the shits a little bit that it didn't happen at that time, there'll be full background on that, and I think people understand a little bit more with what he was trying to do. I think the product's more refined now, and how to look through how he's been representing data online, and looks like a cool product to be able to use. So
I saw a little bit of it on the weekend, and it's changed dramatically.
So definitely, I think there's definitely benefits to be had, and really, if it takes off, there's a few ideas I threw at him, and he's like, "Oh, do you think it's not good enough?" And I'm like, "No, I think it's good enough, but I know your technology can do this sort of stuff too. You've just got to write programs to do it." So I think if he gets the right support, there will, moving forward, there will be all sorts of updates and stuff he'll be able to do from a software side. The hardware side sounds like it's pretty sorted and works very well. So. So we'll have Michael on next week, and he can tell us more about it and just give us a rundown about the craziness that's been the last couple of years for him. So, and then the week after that, we'll see what happens, because next week might be my last show in this studio, so or my bedroom as it is.
Is it going to the drug lab now?
Nah.
Oh.
Nah. We just turned somebody else's place into a drug lab.
Right.
All right. Well, let's sign this one off, and we will catch you guys next week with Michael from Driftbit.
Cool. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Steve.